Hello my DIY friends out there. Hey, today we have a great video for you today. We're going to show you how to repair these exterior French doors here. Now we got called over by a friend of ours here today and they're having a problem with their French doors, and you can see what that problem is. See how badly out of alignment they are here? They miss it by like almost an inch here, and it's because it was installed by somebody who had good intentions, but hey, you know, the worst engineering failures are always caused by good intentions. And if you look over here, just look at what the hinge is doing. See how it's bouncing around and it's pulling away from the wall? So I bet you're here today because you have a very similar situation to this. So today we're going to show you how to root cause, what's causing all of this, how the other guy failed at the installation. We're going to show you how to correct it and how to make it a permanent fix so you'll never have to worry about it again. So let's hop right into it.
You want this alright? Want this alright? Too good to be true. You want this alright? Want this alright? Too good to be true. Gonna make you feel good.
Now here you can see also the handle was put on upside down. The curl should go like this. And that's a common installation thing. There's, you know, the way these handles come in the package, if your door swings the other way, you're fine, but if your door swings this way and you install it, it's wrong. So the way you do it is, we have the tool that'll undo this handle, and you just swap the outside one with the inside one and flip it around, and it'll be perfect. So as we look at the hinges, we could see a couple of the things done wrong was the hinge wasn't aligned to the mortise very well there. As you come down and look at the middle hinge, it looks a lot better. It's aligned to that mortise. And down at the bottom, you can see he's way off. He's like probably a quarter of an inch off, missing the edge, so it's not even seated inside the mortise. So right off the bat, you have a door that's uneven this way and a plane coming this way towards the camera. Because you can see how he's just wanting to stick out there. Okay, now look at the size of this screw. That's a joke. That's what? That's barely a ½ inch. This is what the manufacturers give you with the doors, and in my opinion, the manufacturer should never even give you screws with these doors because they're a joke. They're a joke for two reasons. A, look at the diameter. The gauge is too small. This is like a bookshelf screw, in my opinion. This shouldn't be used to hang an exterior heavy door. And B, the metal on these is so soft that they often strip out, and people strip them out and ruin the screws just putting them in. So sometimes these are just for shipping, right? And the manufacturers will sometimes put slightly longer screws in there. Sometimes they'll put no screws at all, and those are the smarter manufacturers because you're supposed to pick the proper fasteners to use at your location depending on how the frame and the wall are constructed and everything. See, now on this wall here, this looks like about a 3/4 inch frame piece of wood here. But what's behind that? And we have a cement block wall right here. As you can see, this is stucco over a cement block wall because we're here in South Florida. And there may be a 2x4 behind this. We don't know what type of buck plate they have back there. But here in Florida, and with the hurricane laws and everything, we try to do this. We try to take the two outermost screw locations here, and we put in 4-inch Tapcons to make sure that we go all the way through this wood frame and all the way through the buck plate and all the way directly into the concrete, and that's the best way to do it. And you need to check your local codes in your area. You can call your city, ask to speak to your structural inspector and ask them how many bolts do they want, how many screws, how deep do they need to be. But you certainly can't go wrong with the 4-inch Tapcons or 3-inch, we haven't decided yet, that we're going to stick through here. You know, let me show you something here. When they installed this door frame here, they didn't run any Tapcons or anything to secure this well enough, because I can move this with my hand. So I shouldn't be able to move this door frame with my fingers like this. With 2 fingers, you can see that crack separating there. Should not have that kind of movement on there, and that's the problem. So you have 2 failure modes at once. You have the frame is not anchored properly to the cement block wall on the other side of this here, to the door opening, right? And because this moves, now this is going to pull off of this frame that's already moving, so you have 2 different things that are moving in 2 different ways. So that's why that door is just so far out of whack. Okay, so your concrete bit, and you have to use a concrete bit for these Tapcons, you want it to be at least longer than your screw here. so that you can have a hole that's long enough to get your screw all the way down in there. Okay, so what we did was we just put in the first Tapcon screw here on the middle hinge just to make sure that everything stays in there, that it's not going to move anywhere. And we're going to put temporary ones on the other two hinges just to hold the door in place and to take our measurements and make sure the door closes properly. And then this particular Tapcon here, remember, it goes all the way through this 3/4 inch wood, through the wooden buck plate that's behind it, and into the concrete wall. So in a sense, it's also holding this frame in place here, this whole wooden frame, and it's not budging. This one screw just made a huge amount of improvement here for us. Movement there, see how the whole frame is just moving there? So we're going to tighten that down too once we get this moved over and a Tapcon in place.
Good.
Yeah, so if we look here at the top of the hinge here, it's resting pretty flat, flush with the front edge of that mortise. But when you come and look at the bottom of it, it's sticking out a little bit. You can see the lippage there. So this is actually also a manufacturing error in the case of the door manufacturer here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here with our chisel and chisel that a little bit deeper there to make it so that when the hinge closes, it closes more flush. So now we're up to three different root causes of errors here contributing to this door being out of alignment. The flexion, look at all that flexion just from pushing in there with the chisel there. You can see how the door frame is still flexing because it hasn't been Tapconed in place yet. Okay, so after we played with that mortise a bit with the chisel right near the bottom of it, now the hinge is resting nice and flush in there, just perfect. So that will eliminate this out of our equation of errors here as we repair this exterior French door. So on the hinges, we're going to be using the 3/16 inch Tapcon screws that are 3 1/4 inches long. The reason why we're going with the 3 1/4 inch long, you can see how big these are here, is when you look at the back of the card here, they tell you right there that they want a minimum 1 inch anchor embedment into the concrete. Okay, so Florida building codes kind of incorporate this in, especially with the hurricane codes and all that, and with the windows. So they want these bolts to go all the way into the concrete, and of course 1 inch embedment in there. So you set those accordingly. So we'll use the 3/16 inch bolts here, but then when we go over to embed the casing and make sure this casing is secured in, we start with a Tapcon that's 6 inches up off the bottom, and you go every 12 inches all the way up to the top of the door here. For these Tapcon screws, we're going to be using the 1/4 inch by 4 inches. So these are 1/4 inch by 4 inches long, and you can see how these are absolutely monster anchors here. And these have the same requirement. They must be embedded 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch into the concrete in order to satisfy all the rules. We have our head of security over here that's protecting us while we do our install. Here's Buddy. Hey, Buddy. Okay, so now we have our Tapcon here on the bottom hinge, and now we're going back up to the top hinge. I'm going to remove more of these short screws from up top, get rid of the junky screws.
Lift up, Vin.
Nice. So let's see how the door closes now. Now watch this. See how it's actually clearing the strip there before it wouldn't? So it's actually closing now, reasonably smooth. We still have to adjust this right here, so you can see how the reveal is about a 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch up top, but it's getting a little wider as we come down to the bottom, and down near the bottom it's about 1/4 of an inch. So we have to see if we can adjust that. That's the only part that we really need to work on. But at least now the door closes and clears just from all we did to this point was we added 3 Tapcons, 1 on each of the hinges there. That's all we did to this point. We haven't even done the rest of the fixes that we need to do, and you can see how we already have 100% improvement, because before, if you remember, the door was coming up to about this point here in Okay, so if we look at this, the right door here, now watch real closely here, we're pushing on the left side of the door. You see that crack is closing down, the reveal, see that? It's opening and closing there. So we do still need to kind of tack this door in as well, but we wanted to make sure the other door closes first before we start messing around with this one. So it's going to be a combination of doing stuff to both doors here, but it did look to us, just from the initial closing of this door here, that the upper left hand hinge up here, the door needs to go slightly over that way, because see that crack that's there? So either this door has to go over that way to the left, or the right hand door has to go over a little bit, or maybe a combination of the two. But either way, we're going to make that reveal a lot more even. Now here's another part of the comedy act here, because you can see when the guy installed the door, he didn't remove the packing material right there. See that right there? That's put there by the manufacturer to keep the door from moving and stuff while it's shipping. So he should have removed that, and that can interfere with the opening and closing of your door as well. Alright, so just for chuckles, we want to see how square was his original installation. So I put my carpenter square up there, and you can see it's pretty close. It's just a teeny bit of a wiggle up there, but I'm willing to bet that once we get this side wall here of the door frame here, once we get this Tapconned in, I think that will correct all of that.
And we're going to put 2 here, and we'll countersink.
So here we are drilling our countersinks for the Tapcons to fit down into. And remember, again, like I mentioned, we're using, this is concrete block here, and they're 8 inches across. So we're trying to plant our screws here to make sure that they're definitely going to land somewhere in the middle of the block, sideways here. So now, just by chiseling that upper left hinge like we talked about, look how much better reveal we have up top here now. That's a lot more like what you want to see. A good 1/8 of an inch reveal, and it's a lot more even as you go down to the bottom, and it just only starts to flare out a little bit near the bottom, but not like it was before. So these doors are really looking nice and even now. Close-up shot of the mortise, how we had chiseled it a little deeper there, so you can see there's a little bit of lippage here now where it sinks inward. That's what we had to do to make that fit. And we added more Tapcons here, and we got 2 more down here, and we're still going to add a whole lot more once we're done. Okay, so here's all of the Tapcons that have been placed. We're going to place a few more too, just to make sure we're within code. And remember, if you have a wood frame and if you don't have cement block walls on the other side of this, you would just be using like the regular deck-mate screws, because the screws that were in there are usually 1/2 inch screws on those hinges. So I'm using these 2 inch, these are deck-mate, and I love these. These are coated, and they have a star drive, which I prefer over Phillips head. I can't stand Phillips head because they always strip out on you, and it comes with the star bit here. So these will never ever strip out on you when you're trying to run these screws in. So these are a little thicker than the screws we're pulling out, and you can see they're kind of self-tapping, and we'll run these in and see how well it does. So we just stick the wrench in here and loosen this. That pops off. Now we took the handle from the inside and we're putting it over here, and that's the way it's supposed to be, with the curl downward like that. Alright, so now it's on correctly on the outside, and it's on correctly on the inside now. Looks like this case is closed with perfect alignment now on our French doors. So if you found this how-to video useful for you for repairing your French doors, hey, we'd appreciate if you'd give us a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you can come back and binge watch many other videos that we put up weekly for doing engineering repairs and remodeling around your house. And lastly, don't forget to click on that little gray bell icon when you subscribe so that you'll be alerted every time we upload a new video and you'll never miss a video. And lastly, please be sure to share this with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. And we'll see you folks on the next video, and you have a great week. Bye now.